Christian ministry, and that is determining from the weekly collection how much of the collection goes to support the pastor and how much goes to God's work, to the church, right?
Come on now.
My understanding from somebody that I can't disclose their name is that Bishop Cummings was at a convention of ministers a number of years ago, and they were having a discussion about that very issue. And the first minister stepped up and said, well, what I do is I draw a chalk circle on the sidewalk. I throw the collection basket up in the air. Whatever comes out inside the circle is God's, and outside the circle is mine. Well, the second minister stood up and said, well, hey, I do the chalk circle too. But in my case, whatever comes in inside the circle is mine, and outside is God's. And at that point, it went to Bishop Cummings, and he said, I don't get the circle. I throw the basket up. Whatever God wants, he keeps. I knew you'd take that in stride. But anyway, so now I want to introduce and welcome Mark's son, Mike, and Daryl's beautiful wife, Letitia, to come up and take this mic away from me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to see everybody here tonight, as we are very excited to have everyone here this evening for the 2023 Youth Services System Good Samaritan Dinner to honor two fine men in our community. My dad, Mark Abraham, and Reverend Daryl Cummings. You know, both individuals have touched so many lives here in the Ohio Valley from serving in this wonderful community. So my dad, you know, he's been involved in numerous areas here in the community, you know, whether it was from serving clients at the accounting office or from serving the community with his involvement with youth services. He has always tried to help people in our area and make this community a better place. You know, my mom told me back in February that Dad was chosen for the Good Samaritan Award. And by God, I was so proud and excited for him. And I wanted to tell so many people, but she didn't want me to say anything just yet. So I did tell my dad that Mom had told me, and you know, he said the same thing. I don't want anything to say anything yet. And of course, it was made public that back in July, I believe it was, that my dad was going to be receiving the award. He says to me, Mike, yeah, it's very nice that they picked me, but I'm not sure how much I deserve this award. And I says, Dad, I've already had numerous family and friends reach out to me, wanting me to tell you congratulations. And this is less than 24 hours from when it was announced on WTRF. And they said it is very well deserved. You know, the Good Samaritan Award, this is an award that Youth Services takes great pride in when it comes to determining their recipients each year. So without further ado, I am going to turn the mic over to Letitia, Reverend Cummings' wife, as she would like to say a few words as well. Thank you.
My understanding that Southern Bishop Cummings, as well as Mr. Mark Abraham, came on the board at the same time. You actually invited him to the board, so you started in 2009. And you're also still on the emeritus board, so thank you so much. You've been an influence to them. So who is Southern Bishop Gerald W. Cummings? He's an individual who takes his own entourage, his own videographer, and his own photographer. And who might that be? Of course, me. He obviously must be Batman because we do back up in the driveway backwards. So everyone will know who he is, but I beg to differ. A couple called out his name in a hotel that he was staying in the Dominican Republic for a mission trip. During the pandemic, he was receiving calls not only locally, but internationally, asking for him to come back to do his missions work. It seems to me that he is known not only in the Ohio Valley, not only in the United States, but also internationally. It's hard to believe that this man is actually an introvert. You can't tell that personality trait because he will not stop. He will stop what he is doing for so many to hear or help with their concerns. It's amazing that we could actually come through the door without him stopping to help this evening. He has touched so many lives in the Ohio Valley. So in Psalms 37, 3 and 6, and I'm reading it from the New Living Translation, and I think this is him. Trust in the Lord and do good. Then you will live safely in the land and prosper. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you your heart's desires. Commit everything you do to the Lord. Trust him, and he will help you. He will make your innocence radiant like the dawn, and the justice of your cause will shine like the noonday sun. And also verses 23 and 24. The Lord directs the steps of the godly. He delights in every detail of their lives. Though they stumble, they will never fall, for the Lord holds them by the hand. And at this time, please turn your attention to the screens as we watch a video presentation from Mr. Mark Abraham and Southern Bishop Daryl Cohen.
Congratulations to both Mark Abraham and Reverend Daryl Cummings. I've had the pleasure of serving on the board with both Mark and Reverend Cummings. Mark for a longer time. I believe Reverend Cummings was leaving the board as I joined. Both remarkable men, and YSS is a better place because of their contributions to the agency. Mark and his profession has served the agency well, done some remarkable things that allow it to grow. And Reverend Cummings, I like to say that the Reverend's a good shepherd, and he's in the community with the people. He does a lot. So he's a Ron Mulholland, John Moses kind of person who cares about people and doing the most he can for the least amongst us. Remarkable man in what he does for the people in the inner city here in Wheeling. And then that's not to slight Mark in any way, because again, about profession, what Mark does, he's an accountant, and they're by practice or behind the scenes people. But that's not to undermine the value or the importance of his contribution or the contribution of people like him. So we thank you, and I appreciate you, and God bless you.
My father was an accounting professor at Belmont Technical College, and that's where he met Ron Mulholland, the original founder of YSS. Mr. Mulholland came to my dad one day and said, "I'm going to start up an organization, one that will help the children here in the Ohio Valley who have been victims of abuse and neglect, and also ones that are less fortunate." So that's how my dad became involved with YSS since the start. Since then, he has donated a lot of his time and expertise, not only to YSS, but to the entire community, and has touched so many lives here in the Ohio Valley.
My dad, Mark Abraham, has always been someone who's always looking out for others. And through services. That's just one example of many different types of things he does within our family, within our community. And, he's someone that I've always looked up to and always strive to be, because it's hard to kind of think through what it takes to do that, and how much energy and how much love it involves. And while also taking care of a family. And I'll always cherish everything my father has done, and I try to be that every day. Not very successful, I'm still trying, but he has made such a huge difference to so many people, including all of those at youth services, and the world is just much better, and so is Wheeling because of my dad.
Okay, what I remember most about Mark has to do with our director who really made things blossom at YSS, and that was Ron Mulholland. Ron was always 2 steps ahead of the money, with 2 programs up ahead of the money, as he used to say. Mark would smile, he would frown a little bit, but he would smile, because I know that had to conflict with his accounting principles, but he did well. The other thing I remember about Mark is Ron would also say to his staff, "Here's your paycheck, don't cash it until Tuesday." Mark continued to smile, so he helped us work it out. That's what I remember.
I've known Mark Abraham for 50 years. Mark has great integrity and character. Mark has always cared about his community and the people who live in it. If they are less fortunate, Mark even cared about them more. Mark is most deserving of the Good Samaritan Award.
So Mark, I've known you for over 20 years, and I knew that you were involved with YSS, but I really didn't know the extent, because that's the kind of guy that you are. So you raised a family, you ran a business, you taught at Belmont College, and then in the background, you're quietly amassing over 30 years of service. And you didn't brag about it, you didn't say, "Hey, look at all the great stuff I'm doing," you just did it. And I think this award for you is about community service, but it's also about serving with character, and you have a ton of character. I think one of the biggest things is your humility. So everybody knows that you've had some health challenges, and I think that you wake up and you don't say, "Why me?" You say, "Why not me?" And you get up and you do the best you can. And recently you laughed and you said, "I don't think I deserve this, but really I can't think of anybody more deserving." So congratulations, Mark. You got it.
Congratulations, Mark, on being named a 2023 Good Samaritan. When Mark and his wife Debbie became our next door neighbor and good friends over 30 years ago, Mark was running his own accounting firm in addition to teaching accounting at Belmont Tech. But he always had time to serve his community, whether it was contributing to his church, a golf tournament, Little League baseball, various fundraisers, or any way that he could help out. He served on many boards, but YSS was always his favorite. He had a special place in his heart for YSS. What a wonderful organization you chose to support, Mark, and what a difference you and YSS have made, making and creating a better future for the youth and families of the Ohio Valley. And you and Reverend Cummings are perfect examples of Good Samaritans. Mark, we've been through a lot, and I remember the time when you decided you were going to cut your own grass. You destroyed 3 lawnmowers. All the neighbors had no lawnmowers left, except for the ones that weren't there that day. That's when we decided that you should give up cutting grass, sticking to being an accountant, and hiring a grass cutter. Congratulations, my friend. We are very proud of you.
Which we're there, got a Friday night wedding in Charlottesville, Virginia, so unfortunately we weren't able to make it, but I'm glad to join you here. When I think about Mark Abraham, I'll choose 4 words that I'll use to describe Mark: kind, generous, non-judgmental, compassionate. These are traits that Mark has had since I first met him when we were about 11 years old, and continued through this day. He's always been that way. And, you know, I think about, you know, Good Samaritan Award, the road to Jericho, you know, what would Mark have done? He would have stopped, he would have helped. And he wouldn't have understood what all the fuss was about afterwards, having done that, because that's the type of person that he is. Mark's known to make hard choices. Go back to high school, he chose Latin as an elective. Not too many people were doing that. Not only chose it, but he continued to visit his Latin teacher until she was near 100 years old, never forgetting that experience. So, you know, another thing that kind of exemplifies hard choices is, you know, Mark's had a very busy life, running a very successful business, then becoming the head of the accounting department at a community college. And so then, you know, when approached to do something like this, you know, with youth services, it's like, you know, where would you find the time? Well, for Mark, it was just like, hey, this is something I want to do. He would make the time, and he did. And again, it's just no surprise that he's receiving this award. And it's a wise choice. You know, I'd also like to do a shout out to his wife, Debbie, somebody who was a teacher all her life, could have taught anything at any level, and chose to teach special education. And you know, the difference that she made in her community is just, I mean, you know, she's a true hero. And you definitely shout out to Debbie, somebody who I love and admire. So again, Mark, congratulations, a well-deserved award. Mark, Debbie, we really wish we were there. We miss you, hope to see you soon. And thanks again for letting me take part in this award. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mark. I've been with you 42 years this month, and your unwavering strength and faith in God and family and your services has brought us here today. I love you, everything and more.
I'm very grateful to receive this award. Good Samaritan and Youth Services. Youth Services has had a place in my heart since 1985, when I first got on the board. J.T. Mechanic called me up and asked me if I would serve on the board, and reluctantly I went ahead and did it. But I soon found that I was getting as much out of the meetings as the children, because whenever I'd be driving home, I felt like we did something good. I became a member of the board in 1985 and served as president twice. And Ron Mulholland was the first CEO of Youth Services, and John Moses was the second, and the third was Tammy Cruz and Joe Pennybacker. So over 50 years, we've only had 4 CEOs, which says a lot about the organization. Yeah, I would like to remind everybody, Ron Mulholland is a vocal point in the success of ISS. And he was the Good Samaritan in the second year that we had the award. And I got a copy of the speech right here. That many promoted it, and many know it. And it starts off with the one absolute and one moral imperative is that we must respond. We must say yes, yes, and yes again. Children cannot survive our failed efforts. Children can no longer be seen as a constituency on the occasional concern. Children are our future. If their needs, hopes, desires are not addressed with the seriousness that equals the stakes involved, we as a society have failed and will suffer the consequences of years to come. Per Ryan Mulholland, founder, Youth Services herself. So we need to keep that spirit alive. And I think Youth Services is in good hands with the management and the rank and file of the whole organization.
I'm so sorry I'm not present this evening when you honor two great men. And Mark, with a C, when I think of you, I see a big smile and a twinkle in your eye. And how did we ever get to being together on the YSS board for 30 plus years? 4 words. My father, Mike Cox. He snookered me first and then brought you over as his adopted son from Belmont Tech. And your first task was to simplify the board financial reports. You have your priorities straight, Mark. Faith, family, work, and your service to the community, and all the while with your sturdy oak, Debbie, by your side. Well done, friend, and enjoy tonight. Mwah. Mwah.
Here to talk about my friend Daryl Cummings. I got to know Daryl in the Rotary Club of Wheeling, and we're recording this on Rotary Day, Tuesdays. And that's how I met Daryl. The motto of Rotary is service above self. And that sounds just like Dr. Cummings. I've talked to a number of people knowing I was going to do this. I talked to a number of people and asked them about that. And selfless is the word that I heard more often than anything. He's always the guy who's going to come out and solve a problem when it happens. Everybody just loves the guy. I talked to my wife Becky just last night about Daryl, and she said, you know what? He's the community conscience. He doesn't ever preach, but he sees a problem, he tackles it, and he gets us all to jump right in for him. And that's Daryl Cummings. If there's some of you who know me out there, you'll probably be surprised to hear this, but if I hadn't become a lawyer, I would have been a Methodist minister. So I'm kind of into this this Bible stuff, and I know it will embarrass Daryl and Letitia for me to say this, but I've always thought that he's the most Christ-like person I know. Great guy and very deserving of this award.
Bishop Cummings, first of all, I want to emphasize that I'm honored to have an opportunity to pay tribute to you, along with many others, you who embody the concept of a good Samaritan. If I had to define it, I would define it as you. Everyone, of course, is well aware, and will hear from others, about the incredible efforts that Bishop Cummings has made in our city for decades, and the Christian leadership that he has exhibited for so many people. I wanted to talk for a minute about a board I served on with Bishop Cummings back in about 15 years ago. He was president of the West Virginia Northern Community College Board when I came on and served as president for a number of years. I want to mention some of the characteristics that I got to observe working closely with him on the board. Number one, I think, is his sense of humor. I've never seen him without a smile on his face in my lifetime. And that is not just a smile. He makes everyone on that board feel like they're not just a fellow board member with him, but they're his friend. The second, and maybe very important characteristic, is leadership. Our board couldn't have been more diverse, with different priorities coming from many different corners of the city. And there were many of us, about 10. He was able to guide that and to lead that and to give that board a sense of unity. And frankly, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have known what I was doing. The third characteristic is his dedication. I can't tell you how many times I would find out when our meeting began at 6 that he began his day in the morning in Wheeling with a full slate. In the afternoon, he was in Charleston, West Virginia, only to drive 3 hours back to Wheeling to make a 6 o'clock meeting, never complained, wouldn't mention it if you didn't ask. The next characteristic is his intelligence. Behind that happy, sometimes goofy smile he has, I learned is a brilliant man. It is a very complicated area to try to govern a public college in any state, including West Virginia. It was striking to me the mastery that he had of the complexities involved. Now, maybe the most important characteristic that Dr. Cummings has always exhibited for me is Christian principle. He never lost sight of that. There were days when it was easy and days when it was hard, but Bishop Cummings never failed to follow Christ's guidance. So I'm honored to call you my friend, Bishop Cummings, and I congratulate you sincerely on this well-deserved award.
Congratulations, Bishop Cummings. You deserve it. I think about when you first came to our church and you said we were going to give out food or school supplies, and I thought you meant we're going to give out school supplies to the people in our church. You said, no, we're going to give it out to the community because we're a small church. And I didn't know how it could happen, but it did happen, and it's growing bigger and bigger, and we're helping more and more people. And I think it's strange that you are considered the Good Samaritan, because I thought, well, we'll give out to our church. But you're giving out to everyone. And I said, well, they have to prove that they need it, right? And you said, no, we're going to give out to anyone who needs it and wants it. And I think that's really what a Good Samaritan is. You give out to anyone who needs it. They don't have to prove anything because God knows what they need. And thankfully, he let us do this for many, many years with the help of the community in the Ohio Valley, such awesome people who come and help us do that and to be a blessing to those in the community. I just think it's wonderful that you're considered the Good Samaritan this year.
Congratulations, Suffrage Bishop Cummings. I just want to take a moment to say that you're an attribute to the community. It's great to see that you're one who's been chosen to receive the Good Samaritan Award. I know that we worked together for many years on the YSS board, and I just think this is great to know that you've been recognized for all your contributions to the community.
When you think about what makes a city great, it's very tempting to turn to its buildings, its roads, its parks, its schools, all important ingredients. But for me, I turn first and look first at the people. That's what makes the city great. And for more than 4 decades now, we've been so very blessed here in the city of Wheeling to have Pastor Cummings choosing to make this city his home, where he can live out his life's work, where he can fulfill his ministry, where he can give back so much. He's really part of the connective tissue of this community. He's helped transcend many racial and socioeconomic barriers that for so many years would keep people apart from each other. If you go to his church on a Sunday morning, you see people from all walks of life, and that's really a testament to who he is. And that's to say nothing about all the charitable work that he has done and that he's made a part of his ministry. Making sure families have a turkey on their table for Thanksgiving, making sure children have supplies before they go back to school. These are things for which, he does them not seeking recognition, but the recognition he's getting by this award today and by so many other awards is completely appropriate for all that he does for this community. I really will cherish the conversations we've had since I've been in this position, and he's been in his position. I really think we work well together, and I really consider him a trusted confidant, and really appreciate his counsel over the years. And I can't say enough about what he means to this community, and I wish him the best going forward.
I am delighted to offer congratulations to my friend Darrell Cummings. This is a well-deserved honor to be our YSS Good Samaritan of the Year. It seems to me, admittedly, it's not my book, but there in the New Testament, the story of the Good Samaritan is about a person who stops along the way to help strangers. And Daryl is the kind of person who wants to give and cares for all with whom we share our community. As a fellow member of our downtown Rotary Club, he and I have done lots of good works together out in the community. Our congregation is proud to support the work that his congregation does, caring for the neediest members of our community. And as an interfaith colleague, I'm honored to have him with me at all of our community-wide observances and celebrations, bringing our shared values to bear on brightening the lives of all of our neighbors. It is a well-deserved honor indeed. Congratulations to my friend, Bishop Cummings, on this award.
Mark first talked to me after he had seen me give a speech at Belmont College for their graduation. And he told me about youth services. It was smaller at the time, but it has gotten bigger. And he invited me to come. He invited me to come, and we did, and we liked what we saw, and we're just so humbled that Mark took the time to invite me and allow me to be a part of it. We have enjoyed down through the years, mainly working with John Moses, who took over after Ron, and enjoyed working with everybody on the board. Mr. Moses is such a powerful personality and individual, and he, I believe, kindly took me under his wings and helped me, and not only helped me with YSS things, but helped me just even with personal things and with the church ministry, and it's been such a great influence, and he's the true asset to the YSS, and I know he's retired now, but I assure you his influence is not retired. His influence is still strong. And then Tammy, she's gone on and she's picked it up and worked with it, and she's also helped us in so many ways, and just as YSS has helped so many young people in so many ways, and I haven't had the opportunity to work with the new president as much, but look forward to it. From everything that I can see, she's going to do great. And so YSS making difference in people's lives, making difference in youth lives, helping when no one else will help, helping keeping our young people in the area, even when they make mistakes. This is one of the jewels of the Ohio Valley, and we're glad to be a part of it.
Well, Daryl, here you are again. This time, it's the Good Samaritan Award. And I definitely believe that you are a true Good Samaritan. People can honestly say that when you've done it to the least of these, you have done it unto me, which of course is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And you are his disciple, going out there and helping all those who are in need. So you are doing it unto the least. And that's giving God honor and glory. And you're doing the mission, you're doing the work. And that's exactly what YSS does too. They're very involved, they care about the youth in the community, and so do you. And I believe that's why they decided to give you this award as being the Good Samaritan. So continue to keep up the good work. I know it gets tiring sometimes, but you are doing a wonderful job and you're leaving a great legacy. God bless you, I love you, and there's so much more to come.
I'd like to thank Bishop Cummings and Mark Abraham for their endless support of youth services system. They have spent years on our board of directors. Youth Services System's mission is to create better futures for children, families, and our community. These two gentlemen have assisted us in fulfilling our mission. They are true stewards of all that is good.
We had some great videos there. I want to thank everybody that did a video for my dad and Bishop Cummings there. Very, very thoughtful and appreciative. And so, it is my honor and my privilege to announce, or actually to call my dad up to receive the 2023 YSS Good Samaritan Award. Let's welcome Mark Abraham.
And I also have the honor and privilege to introduce and present to you my husband, Daryl W. Cummings.
Thank you. I want to thank specifically Ron Lee, the president of the board, Tammy Cruz, former CEO of development, Joe Petty, CEO, Ron Clue, board member emeritus, and founder, and the entire board. In 1985 was a big year. It was a year that I joined YSS. And I got nominated to the board through a gentleman who is a good Samaritan 3 or 4 years ago, JT McCammon. My most memorable night in these services was the night that I spent with the homeless. When we first started Winter Freeze, we had upstairs in the offices new services. And that night, there were probably about 40 people that spent the night there. And I was the only person there to watch over all 40 of them. But I never found a nicer bunch of people than these poor homeless people. And we've really grown from that. Bishop Cummings, about 20 years ago, at a commencement at a local college. And he talked about, it was 20 years ago, so I don't remember the whole story. I forgot he was just standing behind.
He said that you can step on it, you can crush it, but it's still worth $20. So no matter what happens to you, you don't lose your work. Yeah.
So, that's already commissioned, and he gave that talk, and I talked to him for about 5 minutes after the commencement. Then I called him up and asked him if he wanted to be on the board of youth services. And I don't think he gave me a direct yes or no at that time, but eventually, he probably investigated why I said so. Organization it was. I would like to mention the names of the former, prior Good Samaritans. I'm going to name real quick. Just a number of them, I thought I should mention their names. Number 1, Ron Mulholland. Number 2, Tom DeBourne. Number 3, William Circle Gibbon. Sister Constance. Catherine Shane. Bernard Bruder. Dr. Lee Jones. Ian Thomas. I can't remember him right. Jim and Linda Boris. Sue Hogan. Dr. William Mercer. J.T. McKean. Barry and Lisa Allen. Charlie Shane. Ambassador Chris Fiorelli. And now Dale Cummings. Mark Abraham. I'm sorry I was so tired.
You're fine.
Thank you.
Would you do me a huge favor and give Mark another hand? Let me say thank you to all who took time to come. Very appreciative, and a special thank you to Mark and his family, because truly, if it wasn't for Mark, I would not be on the YSS and would not be receiving this award. Someone asked me as we were coming up the elevator, they said, we noticed that over the last few months, you've been getting a lot of awards. The city honored you, the YMCA said, are you retired? I said, not that I know of. I said, I was wondering, am I dying?
Oh,
I didn't tell. But I do thank my sister who came from Cleveland for the second time, not just to be with me. Thank you, Claudia, would you all?
okay.
My children that came, my daughter Alexis that's here, and my daughter Melanie, and my youngest son Richard, whose birthday will be in a few days. I want to thank God for the members of the two great churches I pastor, the members of Bethlehem Temple, as well as Shiloh Apostolic Faith Assembly. Thank you, Bethlehem.
And Bobby.
And I really want to thank God for my daughter's husband, my son-in-law, and that is Bobby Bennett. Give him a hand. please help me recognize my Good Samaritan, the one who looks beyond my faults and sees my need, my wife, Lady Letitia. Thank you to Youth Services System who allowed me to serve on their board, allowed me to become its chairman twice. I was on the board when they had the first winter freeze. I was part of the negotiations when they purchased the present headquarters. I was on the board when they were still on the island and when they were getting the school for the Northern Regional Juvenile Center and several other significant programs. And I do, like Mark, thank God for the patience of Ron Mullen and John Moses and the entire staff, Tammy Cruz and Jill Eddie. They all do a great job. Would you give them all a hand? My wife told me to make it short, so I'm cutting things out as I talk. YSS is the definition of greatness. Defining greatness is as challenging as achieving it. If success is defined by how well I've done for myself, then Youth Services has taught me that significance is better than success. If success is how well I've done for myself, significance is how well I've done for others. But true greatness is how well I've inspired others to do well for themselves and for others. The Wonder Gospel said that man's greatness lies in the power of thought. Great people, great organizations always think possibilities. All things are possible to them who believe, the Bible says, and they're less difficult for those who hope. And they're downright easy for those who love. And they're truly simple for those who believe, hope, and love. Working with YSS has taught me possibility thinking. And possibility thinking teaches three things. It teaches you always have options. Persevere no matter how long it takes. And be creative. They taught me the win-win principle. That if you want to go quickly, go alone. But if you want to go far, take somebody with you. True greatness is that when you help others win, and they go out and help somebody else to win. No wonder John Wooden once said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. Joe Frazier, a former boxing champion when I was growing up, once said, champions do not become champions in the ring. They're merely recognized in the ring. They become champions in their everyday life. It's what they do every day. Mark, you're a champion because of what you do every day. Youth Services, you're a champion because of your daily routine. William Arthur Ward, and I'm almost through, said that the pessimist complains about the win. The optimist expects it to change. But the realist knows how to adjust the sails. YSS has taught me how to adjust the sails. Alex Haley said, either you deal with what is reality, or you can be sure that reality is going to deal with you. In my last minute, Dr. Anthony Capallo tells about a sociological study in which 50 people over the age of 95 were asked one question. You could live your life all over again, what would you do differently? It was an open-ended question. The multiplicity of answers came from These are the eldest of our senior citizens. But there were three answers that were pretty consistent and reemerged and were dominating the results of the study. Here they are. Number one, they said, if I had to do it over again, I would take time to reflect over it. Thank you for helping with that. Number two, if I had to do it over again, I would risk more. Number three, if I had to do it over again, I would do more things that would live long after I'm dead. It is my hope that through working with YSS and this community and the churches that I pastor, and some of the things that we've done will live long after we're dead to the glory of God. Thank you for your help and thank you for listening. God bless you.
Those were great speeches. Again, I congratulate both of you. I'm going to introduce Ron Lee now, board chair, to officially make you.
I have a short message from John Moses for both of you. Excuse me. Nearly 50 years ago, the founders of Youth Services Systems embraced the mission of serving youth as a ministry. It is no wonder that in his first program was named Samaritan House. That ministry was built on compassion, perseverance, and the most vulnerable of our all, the community, youth. YSS has had the good fortune of having board leadership to give guidance, especially in challenging times. Both Daryl and Mark exemplify the virtue of the Samaritan by their balance, compassion, and service. It has been my privilege to be their good companion. I value the wisdom of their guidance, their unwavering commitment, and their faithfulness. They join our other honorees, men and women, who put love of their community ahead of personal needs. John Moses. I hope I'm grabbing the awards. I'm grabbing something. This is nice. This award, 2023 Good Samaritan Award, is presented to Bishop Daryl W. Cummings. Congratulations. Mark's is a little heavier. He served a little longer. This 2023 Good Samaritan Award is presented to Mark Abraham. Before we close, I would again once ask you to give them a round of applause, please.
Do it.
I know you're ready to go. But I want to ask the YSS board members and emeritus board members to please stand.
Right. Woo!
We thank you, appreciate you. God bless you. I'm going to now bring up our interim CEO, but before I do, I want to ask for any YSS staff members, of course, Tammy Cruz, please stand. I don't know where you're at, Tammy. We, the board, appreciate the work you do in carrying out the mission of youth services system, so thank you. God bless you. I now want to bring up our interim CEO, Mrs. Jill Eddy.
Mark's brother John and I have gone all through grade school together. So again, I want to make sure that, again, I congratulate Dr. Cummings and Mark Abraham. I cannot imagine two more deserving gentlemen. So thank you for your ongoing support of youth services system. And they say behind every good man is a great woman. Letitia, Debbie, thank you for holding down the fort at home to allow these gentlemen to do all that they do. As outgoing as I am not a public speaker. I can write a grant, I can present a program, but public speaking is not something that I've always enjoyed. Brand, you've been an amazing MC. You kept me laughing. Thank you. And thanks to the board of directors. I want to thank Tammy, Jen, Deb Wormuth, Holly, and Jason with River City for an amazing evening. I want to take a few minutes to talk about YSS. We have been through a lot of transition. To say that it's been easy would be an understatement. I've been an interim CEO for 4 months. It feels like 4 years. I was the first intern in the Ronald C. Mulholland Juvenile Facility in 1987. So I've been around. I'm 35 years. I've only worked 3 places: Northwood, Crittenton, and YSS.
Oh, wow.
John said to me one time, "When are you coming home?" When he was on the Crittenton board. I guess I'm home. One thing that I want to say, we've learned a lot through this transition. One thing that I have learned is how committed our staff are. I would like for our staff to stand up again. Well, you like to jump to me. We have women that have been with us 20 and more than 20, 30 years. Elisa, Pam, Margot, Megan, Dallas, Cody, Cody.
Woo!
These people amaze me every single day. We have youth that we experience daily that have been through the worst trauma, consequently ending up with mental health issues. We encounter parents needing to learn additional skills to either maintain custody of their children or regain custody of their children. We have individuals that come to us trying to be successful in recovery. To say that this work, it is very, very difficult, but very rewarding. You know, we experience young people who get their high school diploma, pass their GED, go on to college. We watch individuals who are able to establish their first home, regain custody of their children, and go on to support others.
Awesome.
Most recently, we were granted a Kentucky Fried Chicken grant, Make-A-Wish grant. I think it's a Kentucky Fried Chicken Wish grant. And that was initiated by a young woman who was a former client of ours at Polinsky Shelter.
Wow.
And she said that she wanted to give back to the organization that was there for her.
Beautiful.
And Margot is here. I can't see anything. Margot is here. She's our friend, our board trainer. And she was during this award ceremony. No matter what we encounter, we've been here for 50 years. You know, I have no doubt that we will be here for the next 50 years.
Yes.
I think that if we continue with the committed staff that we have and find people that are as caring and as committed, I think that we will continue to grow and better serve the community. We continue to think, what more can we do? You know, recently we had a young man that was with us in our detention facility for a period of time, and because of some of the things that he was going through, ended up needing to go to Ruby Memorial, where one of our officers sat with him for 3 weeks. This was a young man who we were trying to get to a psychiatric hospital, and we're now being told by acute hospitals that his needs are too acute. You know, we ended up being able to locate a treatment program. It was out of state, and we're thrilled to death with the opening of Orchard Hospital locally. And I believe that another hospital the trauma that the kids have experienced and what we're seeing on a daily basis it's overwhelming. There's days that I come home and my husband says, "You don't stop," and it's hard to stop when you're dealing with lives. So
yeah.
Thank you again, and we hope to see you at our 50-year celebration next year.
Woo!